That's the ludicrous intended message of summoning Parliament to sit on a Saturday, echoing the eve of battle in 1939. It also recalls the Suez Crisis, and that's a more apt Brexit comparison. This maverick act of hubris, the last hurrah of empire, leading to national humiliation. The Saturday theatrical show is meant to shine a spotlight on the scene where Boris Johnson is forced by traitors to sign a surrender letter to the EU enemy to beg for more time. But wait. In the last act, the people will set our hero free from these parliamentary villains when a general election resoundingly acclaims him as the leader to take them out of the EU and into the promised land. But while that election looks certain, a Johnson victory does not at all. The Labour shadow cabinet this week expressed rumbling nerves, low in the polls, their leader even lower, after a conference overshadowed by continuing left faction plotting. Despite all that, look to the other side and see a party in a far greater existential crisis. Johnson frames this as the Brexit showdown election, yet he has just boxed himself into a corner where his own policy is confusing, duplicitous and rightly untrusted by both sides of his Brexit split party. He has just promised his 81-nation moderates that his manifesto will pledge a deal, with no deal only as a default. But there is no deal for him to sell, however much he blusters that the EU will yield to him once he is victorious. It won't, and it will be clear throughout the election if he tries to outline some fantasy settlement, while Nigel Farage shouts for a clean Brexit now. There can be no more flanneling. In fear of Farage, watch Johnson follow Dominic Cummings' lead, converting the Tories into a no-deal Brexit party. Do that and he faces instant schism, with walkouts not just by those 80 MPs but also propelling a large slice of his One Nation voters into the eager arms of the Liberal Democrats. Against these no-dealers, Jeremy Corbyn and his party are united and authentically passionate, in a way they haven't been for years. Corbyn can convincingly admit he was never an EU enthusiast, but like many who saw the options unfold, he stands unequivocally against the great no-deal disaster. Vote for us, and we give you the final say, Remain, or a deal that keeps us in a customs union, as near as damn it in the single market, with no border in Ireland. Vote Tory and it's no deal. Vote Liberal Democrat and it's an undemocratic revoke. The danger is in splitting the Remain vote. Everything depends on Remainers and Progressives voting tactically with rigid discipline in each of 150 target seats to keep Johnson out, opting for the best chance Labour, Lib Dem, Green, SNP or Plaid Cymru candidate. Labour people may jibe at Jo Swinson's behaviour. Why is she so rudely adamant that she would never back a Corbyn-led government, not even as interim? For the good reason that grown-up Labour supporters need to understand, the seats she can win are virtually all Tory ones and the soft Tory Remainers she needs to woo would be frightened off if voting Lib Dem looked like a proxy Corbyn vote. She needs to be as brutally aggressive towards Labour as possible, and Labour people just have to suck it up. The only hope of Labour being the bigger party is for Swinson to win every Tory seat she can.